Hi, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the second edition of Wowter's Stronger Together initiative of bringing outdoor entrepreneurs and their stories to the forefront. So today we have a very interesting person with us. Is Ignatius Chen, fondly known as the Bike Doctor, and I'm sure as curious as I am, I'm sure you're that curious too. And we're just gonna bring him on, and we'll hear the story of how he came to be known as the bicycle doctor, and we'll hear more of his story. So welcome, Iggy, Iggy the
Hi,
bike doctor.
Megha.
Hi,
Hi.
so glad you're on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. The honor is all mine.
We're very curious, Iggy. Let's start at the very beginning. Your story. How did you come to Bangalore? What brought you to Bangalore? And let's start at the beginning.
Well, so I am actually the third generation Chinese in my family line. I was born and raised in Bangalore. My forefathers are from China. They had come down from during the Indian War, and they settled in Kolkata, as usual normal Chinese communities do. And from Kolkata, my parents moved down to Bangalore, and that's where I am right now. So yeah, I'm fortunate enough to be living in the south of India, for sure.
Yes, we can all say that. We can all do that. So, how was it? How was it here? How was it growing up in Bangalore?
Well, as a kid, you would always be different, of course. It wasn't very normal to be as fair as what everybody would expect. But luckily, in my school, there were two Chinese boys who were in the school, and of course, the we've been through all of that, being different, but that made us even more stronger and more South Indian, or I can say it Kannadigan.
Yeah,
So I've been pretty fortunate to actually go through school in Bangalore itself, like learning the local language, having my dosa
that's
every morning.
great. That's
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
I didn't have an option not to study Kannada. That my parents persist that I do. So I actually passed out with Kannada with my 10th standard out at school. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, but
That's pretty crazy. I swear. Good to see Chinese speak Kannada, so that's going to be pretty cool. So,
yeah, the con yeah, go ahead.
no, so I was just trying to figure out your childhood here. You mentioned that what was it like? I mean, today we have so much access. Like I have two kids, and I try to keep them away from the constant I'm bored, and I need a device to keep me entertained. And then I think
Yeah.
back to our childhoods, right? So what was it that you did to kind of keep yourself out of trouble, or did it was it stuff that got you into trouble? Were you like I'm just trying to figure out how you got into your journey to, come to cycles.
So, as a kid, I was a very inquisitive kid. Of course, we all played our toys, but I was more into like what makes it that it works, right? So, I would basically dismantle toys and re-put them back in. Try to figure out how things work. But slowly but surely, as I grew, I also joined Sports Authority of India. I represented SAI. So I was in the basketball team and also in the gymnastics team as well. Uh, so you could
Wow.
say trouble got me into more trouble, but it was very pleasant because being different wasn't very. I mean, say it was definitely much more opportunities come up to me because people love difference, and of course it was since not being from around here and speaking the local language, it was
That
definitely
is both.
right up there, and it still helped me out, so
Of course.
um, definitely being around in Bangalore definitely helps out. Especially the
So this
local
was
language.
surely. So this was during school, college that you joined Sai and you
Yeah,
represented
yeah.
and in
Yeah,
this.
well, this was during my high school. So I'm a Josephite as well. So
Oh, Joseph.
so yeah. Gojos was so yeah.
Yeah.
They were very healthy rivalries, but it was something that I always took forward to and look forward to in school because we already had camaraderie amongst us, but also that clearly gave me a bonding of where I stand in the community and also who I represent as well. So yes.
True, true. And sports is such a big thing, right? When you're a sports person, it brings together in such a healthy way. The like people from different walks of life, and the coming together is such a seamless draw. Like it is so important. So and tell me, Iggy, how did you get into like how did cycling become such a big thing for you? Because I
um,
also yeah on your Instagram, like you were the MTB. There's that for the uninitiated. Is it the mountain terrain bike fest happens in Manali, or is that
um,
right?
Yeah, so that is correct. I do represent India at some international arenas, but that was quite a while back. So nowadays, or just starting this year, I've been supporting athletes and representing them in terms of helping them get their equipment right, which is one, which
Right.
is very unheard of in the cycling community, but also giving them that edge that you would want when you are racing, when you're very competitive, when you're representing, your state, your city, or your country. So that is an initiative that that I've been looking forward to. But how it started out, to answer your question, how I started out is, of course, I did my education. I got a couple of jobs, but then I got bored, as all youngsters do, and cycling was one thing that I wanted to see whether if I could, bring it back because I used to cycle in my school days, but I just forgot about it, and then I had to reconnect. But when I did reconnect, it was so strong that people started to, I magically started wavering towards, why does this work again? And that small Iggy, that infant Iggy mind started to click in, and that's when I started to work on bikes. And I can say that it's been an awesome journey with a lot of hiccups and jumps. Of course, there were a lot of trouble times that we had also gone through in my time as a mech, but there's no life without challenge. So there's been a lot of challenges that we had to face for sure. So yes.
Yeah, I can just imagine, like the old hero cycle and that black cycle. Like, we've all kind of, ridden it sideways, stuck your
Yeah,
leg into
yeah,
it,
true.
kind of ridden the watchman cycle around the place, and to coming into now, like where it's such a cool thing. Cycles
Yeah,
cost up to almost like lakhs of rupees. Like it could be more expensive than that motorcycle,
correct.
come to that. And also like such wasn't this way when you started out. So was there like a family you know bite back, or how does this how did you kind of make your way through that to follow this passion?
Yeah. So, yep, I mean, say what every parent wants their child to succeed in life is what they definitely plan and make sure that their child has the, full opportunity to succeed in life. However, that wasn't my case. Of course, there was a lot of rebellion. There was a lot of discomfort, of course, and also there was a very uncertain future that no one wanted to think about. And when I took, when I left my desk job and I said, I'm going to be a mech, the one instance that comes to your mind is you're going to be sitting on a footpath and you're going to start hammering bolts and trying to fix someone's bike. But after that, I mean, say, of course, that was one in my mind. But then when you try to imagine how professional can you get, or how there's a different way of looking at things, of course, that I had in mind. And when I started getting my hands dirty, getting to know why would I want to do this, or how should I do it, what would make this one up, they say. So that definitely was there from the beginning. Of course, parents took a while. I would say now they are happy. They've made peace with me, of course. But then it took them quite a while to get to say my son's gonna do this, so let him let
And
it
now
be.
My son is the bike doctor. He's so cool. Like really, I don't know what's happening with my son. How are we going to get him out of the van?
Oh yeah, there were times where I felt very low. Let me be honest. It's not rose and gardens, but there were times that you would question yourself, your methods. But then there were times where I would usually tell myself that if I'm not going to be doing this, I'll never be happy in my life, and I better stop thinking negative and start getting into positivity.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of will and motivation that you really require, especially when you are doing it by yourself and nobody's ever done it before. If you're first of your kind, you will take a lot more bumps than the next person behind you. So yeah.
And you're setting up a path for somebody else to follow, which is really like the path breakers. It's very very interesting. Iggy, how long have you had your works? How long have you had your workshop in Bangalore?
So I've actually set up a lot of bike shops in Bangalore. In fact, so I was a part of various organizations before this at the back of me, which is the workshop. So I actually run two jobs right now.
All
So
right.
one is this, and I also work for a company called Happy Earth, which deals with park tools, which I wear, which you can see on your screen. So they deal with a lot of high-end specific tools for bikes itself alone. So we are the distributors. Yeah, it's definitely very very different. I mean, say for me, I've been in the industry for more than a decade right now. It's been a while. It's been a long journey, but yeah, I've helped a lot of bike shops, get to where they need to be in terms of servicing, in terms of what kind of layout that they will need, or what is comfortable with their mix, which is not, what kind of tools to invest in rather than having the whole chandelier to yourself. So, in a way, I've been let me say given the opportunity to work in every stream of cycling
That
of the fight cycling industry.
that's really interesting. From being a cyclist to yourself to helping set up for other people, that's so interesting. Where is this workshop? Is this like yours? Is this your setup? Is this where is it in Bangalore?
So
So
this,
that if
yeah,
somebody
this
wants to
is,
come by, they should. I
yeah,
mean, I'm sure we're gonna send them out to, like, just go check out and follow Iggy the Bike Doctor on
yeah,
Instagram, guys. So you'll see more of where you're at. But
yeah.
if somebody wants to visit you.
So yeah, so the workshop is actually set up in Indranagar. It's called LBB, or Live Behind Bars. It's a very funny name, but it's called
LB
LBB. It is.
Life and Bars. Okay.
Yeah, live behind bars. We are above the 3M Car Care Center at the moment. So we do sell bikes and also service well over here. But my specialty is more into suspension servicing. So I do a lot of suspension tune-ups like your
Right.
motorbikes, but this is more into bicycles. So yeah,
That's right. Who would have thought, really? I mean, it's just so
yeah.
interesting. This has been such a, like, along with your personal journey, I think it's been a journey for so many people who have grown up cycling and then do want, there's a certain amount, so there's a certain kind of a freedom that comes with cycling. I think that it totally takes you back to that, that childhood, that sense of freedom that was so carefree when you were cycling, right? It's almost meditative. Do you teach? Do you teach people? Do you, like you said, you're training them? Is that something? Is that a project that's close to your heart? Training, youngsters, going in for competitions, giving India a chance in that sense, to showcase our talent. Is that something that's
Um,
close? Is that a project
that's
that you're
def
working?
So yes, that is one of my dreams, of course. The bigger picture, of course, is a lot more, but I'm going to definitely tell you about it. Yeah, the one closest to my heart is helping athletes understand their equipment, which is so more important, right? So if you don't maintain your bike, or if you don't have the proper equipment to remove, just to basically service your bike, it plays a very big role. And especially when you are dealing with athletes who look at milliseconds when they are riding off on their bike. You need to make sure they are in top form. You can't be physically fit until your equipment is fit. Um, so I wouldn't say just to brag, but in the last nationals, I had eight participants who came up to me asking for help for suspension tune-ups, and they were all over the place. They did 1 day of practice session, and out of eight, six of them came podium. So
Wow, that's
you
that's
can
really something.
yeah, so
No,
you can imagine how much a bike mech actually plays a role in when you have a guy who understands suspension, but more or less understands you how a rider you are, and
yeah, what
sees you on the track and sees you what you can capable of doing and how much of push do you need. So yeah.
totally, totally, totally. So, how has it been like the journey so far? I know we've spoken about it in parts, but what inspired you? Like again, how is it that you decided to come to this? Like it was, I'm sure, like you said, you had a desk job. You had
Yeah,
a
yeah,
like it. Like it takes a certain coming to that brink. That last straw on the
yeah,
camel's back.
yeah.
Say, what? I learn 100
um
rupees. I'm not gonna do this. I don't want. I may not know what I really want to do forever, but I know I don't want to do this. So what was that moment?
This happened, I think, after joining the cycling industry. A part of me understood that there are things that are in motion
Right.
that if you don't jump on it, it's going to just go away, which is one.
Yeah.
The second thing is that when people started approaching me and asking for help. Now, let me be honest, not all bike shops are open to saying I don't know,
Yeah.
right? Well, versus with saying I need help.
Yeah.
That was very humbling, and I understood that very quickly that people don't know a lot. And you say, I understand that you've been a mech for 20 years, but if you don't know things, you just wouldn't know. And I don't know things sometimes, and I would just open up my phone and just check. So that those were times that was a time where I realized that not all mechs do understand what you're doing, and the
Right.
mechs who do understand don't want to share. and um, and it is a little selfish, but it is also where I felt that knowledge is not meant for not meant for me alone. It's meant for everybody, and if I'm able to make a living out of it, I'm pretty sure anybody else can make a living out of it. And especially if you have the will and also the determination to say I'm going to get through.
Yeah.
But also, there were times where I would just break down and say I can't fix this, and I would sleep over it, and then get up and say maybe there's another way. So there's always a strive of getting better at things, right? So
Yeah.
that definitely motivated the one that broke my back or the camel's back was to be very honest, in between I joined another desk job and I felt so guilty. uh, I stayed in the job for like 3 months and I was like, I'm done. I can't wear a suit and tie. I need to go back, wear my shorts, wear my apron, and I'm back at job again. So that was a calling by itself, saying, you're not meant to do this, Iggy. You're a guy who gets your hands dirty, would like to point out things that could be done better, but also help people. Say that, hey, if you're going to work on a bike, it is a living that you can make out of. And plus, it's a new skill to be very honest. It's a skill that can even help somebody get out of the tough times as well, right? So
And so this is something so motivating, right? And I heard these. I don't know if this is rumors, but I believe like in during the lockdown and post that, I believe that cycle shops ran out of stock. Is it like there were a number of people who went back to cycling and realizing that how important it is to get out of their homes and kind of get healthy, or get back in the saddle in that sense? Was it true? Was it a
um,
rumor? Like, did you
that that
experience
is
cycles?
that is very true. I've been so prior to this, I used to work for a bicycle company, and we ran out of bikes so quickly that we had a backlog of people waiting bikes for up to 6 to 8 months.
That's just
So
unheard.
yeah, it is definitely unheard of, and it was something so unusual that people would just pick up anything what they got on their get their hands on, even if it was a second-hand bike.
Yeah,
And what the COVID brought in was an usher of course, being healthy, but I don't know what is there at my next door building, or is there a track beside my house, or people just wanted to
exploring that,
explore, of course.
exploring that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So the whole concept of I can ride down to my office was there, but now it was more stronger. I
yeah,
could go for a morning ride instead of a morning walk. That was much more, tempting, I would say.
right.
So currently, at this moment, we are still having a bike boom. I would say it's still continuing. We are still having people to wait for bikes to come by as well. So as we speak on this
Right.
podcast, there is still a demand for it, and of course, to help that demand, we need a service backbone as well to do that. So that's where I'm trying
So
to get in.
yeah, even the quality of mechanics, would you say that I'm going to like open up a setup where I'm going to train mechanics, to be able to,
Yeah, yeah,
find, like, is it something that can become a better thing for them financially?
yeah.
Is it, give
So
some, yeah, is it something that
yeah,
would
yeah.
be,
The wheels are in motion. Right now, the so we are. I am talking to dealers and I am talking to bike shops who are willing to invest to get a school done at their store, at their location, where they can train mechs. People who don't know about things can still come by and train a lot. In fact, states like Karnataka, Kerala, Northeast
yeah,
are willing to do that, take that leap of faith, because I believe that most of the people who've lost jobs outside India and come back and trying to make a living again, I think those kind of institutions will help at least in the long run. Get people to we could get good quality mix for sure.
has there been like a coming together of the industry bigwigs, or let's say, has it been something, have you seen like a drop in, say, competitiveness, and a general feeling for the industry to come together and create um, wealth together, like in terms of, I don't know, is that
Yeah,
something that, I mean, because I'm seeing such a growth in this industry, I'm seeing such a, like in the last
yeah.
20 years, just been mind boggling. So is this something that you think you could be a part of to grow in this sense?
So yes, we do see some brands, taking the initiative of coming together, even supporting dealers and customers, of course, alike. Giving them the opportunity to, why don't you take this bike, or so most of the dealers in India have demo bikes where they can lend it out to the customer, let them ride it. In the meanwhile, when we say when they do get their bike, they can give it back, which is one way of keeping customers, in the cycling world, of course. But also, you can see brands taking the initiative of letting customers know, how long are they going to take. So I would say the industry is trying to be as transparent as possible, of
Also
course.
having a
Uh,
nice cycle stand manner. How the doctors have
yeah.
a good, like just
Yes.
have a little more of a reachability.
Yes.
I just, my sister-in-law, who's like 39 years old, just learned how to ride a cycle, so it's very exciting. We're
Wow.
just, yeah, so just people who
Oh
lived
yeah.
in certain cities never got an opportunity to do that, so, and
Absolutely.
Bangalore with the weather and the terrible roads, but I
Well, yeah, one is the terrible
think,
roads, but yeah.
yeah, so with the traffic and everything, I think people might be finding that they can reach somewhere faster on a cycle than in a car. I think a lot of people realized that when there was traffic.
Yes.
So yeah, so this the bike doctor, and uh,
Hmm.
is there, what's the future plan like for yourself? Like, is there, what would you say? What would you advise to young or upcoming outdoor entrepreneurs who want to do something and different? because it's not an easy path in that sense, to hang
Yeah.
in there, be so resilient.
Yeah.
Apart from that, what is your advice to people who are doing the off the beaten
Um,
tracks?
I would say if you're not enjoying what you do, then don't do it, which is one. But I would say never throw the towel until you've given it your all, which is one.
Yeah.
And not every day is a payday, of course. There are days which will be a payday, but not every day. And yeah, hard work always pays off. To be very honest, it could be tomorrow, day after, whenever, but hard work always pays off. Um, I would say setting goals is very, very important. But more than that, it would be to make it to take it easy. I mean, say to for me, to get to this level of, I know how much of sacrifice that I'd have done actually. No time to spend with family. You're always, running and trying to update yourself or fix somebody else's problem. That's what my wife always says. But yeah, I mean, say just take it easy. Don't rush at things. Don't think too much about it, but have some time to yourself, which is very, very important, because things can go wild at times, and things can just go up. Uh, but just keeping it focused, trying to stay calm at those times is very, very important. Um, I mean, say it's like, let me put it this way. I know I'm going to quote somebody. It's like riding a bike.
It's like riding a bike. Just get on and get moving.
Yes,
Yeah. Yes.
yes.
So, okay, this is my last few things. I just want to wrap it up here. But,
Yeah.
about starting your own thing, has it been
Hmm.
something that's been as, you know, you thought like, you would have thought like making a living out of your passion,
Hmm. Hmm.
so, and, it's a place of uh, being totally in it, and taking this further and forward. How do you get people to be aware of your brand? Like, if I was to say, if this is a booming industry, what keeps 20 other people to start, like, bike workshops? How do you let people, how do you increase awareness about your own brand? Is that something, because even
So
that is something that's a totally new thing, that initially it was about the
yeah,
local, it was the guy in your neighborhood, but
yeah,
now it's,
yeah,
I want to go to Iggy the Bike Doctor. So how does that kind of
yeah,
come forward? How do you increase that awareness? Because that would be something that you hold on to as well as a business enterprise. So we are also looking at it for Wowter, and this whole concept of showcasing people who have made
yeah.
a living, who are keen to make a living out of doing
Hmm.
something which is off the beaten track. So how does that
Yeah.
happen?
Um, well, the awareness is definitely slow, but it still works, of course. You do have your Instagram, handles, of course, but I would say that the ground reality is you'll have to be present physically in your with athletes, of course, with nationals and state level championship racing. Of course, I mean, say one of it was Manali, which is the local race, which is not affiliated with any racing community, but it's still there, and a lot of riders come down to those kind of races. So, being in these races really help. But more than that, when you get a rider saying, "Hey, Iggy, you know what? Uh, you touched my bike and I came on the podium," or your tune up helped me save my life, because I would have gone her out of that kind of a jump. So in a way, it really helps when when you've made an impact, when parents, when athletes, when coaches, when shopkeepers come and say, "Hey, you know what? Thank you for your help, but this made a huge impact," right?
That's
And
a personal touch, and that's unforgettable, and that's really truly
yes,
amazing.
yes.
Really would say that would be the most.
So
That,
yes, and true, true, and of course, the one of the most important thing is supporting your local bike shops. Of course, I mean, say Bangalore itself has a lot of bike shops in the city, right? But I mean, say I'm fortunate enough to connect with everybody on the same level, being in the industry for a decade, and each and every dealer comes up to me and says they are not, shy away saying, Iggy, I probably need some help. So I'm I'm lucky enough to be in a position to say that, if that bike shop doesn't work, you can probably go to the next one. Or if that doesn't work, just let me know. I'll speak to them and I'll tell you what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So that is very very important when you're dealing with your brand, of course. But the more important thing is that is I have made when you're taking negativity as well, that means you're doing something. Something is happening,
Yeah.
and that definitely motivates me every day to move on. So yes.
That's cool. So cool. Such a pleasure talking to you, Iggy, and learning about your journey and your story. And just for all our audience, just please go follow Iggy the Bike Doctor on Instagram and check out LBB in Indranagar, Life Behind Bars. I cannot get over the name. Very, very cool. Such, such a pleasure chatting with you, Iggy. All the very best,
Thank you
and
very much.
let's hope for this. Just to this boom continues, and let there be more cyclists.
Oh yeah, keep on rolling.
Yes.
I'd say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a real pleasure hosting Iggy, and here's to many, many more upcoming and entrepreneurs, outdoor entrepreneurs, people who are into the outbound, into adventure, travel. And if you know anybody who is following their passion and creating a niche for themselves in outdoor adventure and is an outdoor entrepreneur, please do share their handles with us, share their profiles. We would love to feature them, we would love to talk to them. This is Wowter is a platform which brings together uh, um, and as many entrepreneurs as possible, and we would love to hear from you. So looking forward to it. Do keep watching and stay tuned. Thank you.